Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to the Complete Husband's Handbook podcast. My name is Daniel, and today I'm going to be starting just a quick little personal series, and it's really talking about just how, men are simplistic, and it's that simplicity that is rather complex, okay? And I've been doing a lot of soul searching. I've been reading a lot of stuff here lately, Jordan Peterson, a lot of these motivational people, and reading a lot of history during the Renaissance era, like the fall of Rome, into the medieval era, into the Renaissance, the age of exploration, all these very famous explorers and mappers and cartographers and just all of these really just people who just we celebrate even to this day. Howard Hughes, Ponte, even Cortez to a minute. But really what that's told me is that, men need a monster to fight. We need a demon to vanquish. And I got to thinking about that. I work nights, I work 8 to 9 hour shifts, and there's a bit of a lull time in the shifts. And it got me thinking, are we as men natural fighters? Are we natural warriors, soldiers? Do we always look for that next mountain to climb, that next skill to conquer, that, next land to tame? And when we don't do that, what happens? What happens to us as individuals? What happens to us as a gender or sex? And how does that affect people now? So an idea kind of struck my mind here, okay? And I want you to kind of go with me on this journey. Now, when we're conceived, okay, we grow in the womb, and then it reaches a point where we're kind of done developing. We shift, we prepare to be born, as it were. And that in and of itself is a struggle. It's a struggle for the mother giving birth. It's very painful. And it's a struggle for the child. Because now you go from a self-contained unit where everything we need is given to us. We don't have to move. We don't have to talk. We don't really even have to think. We run on pure instinct. When we're hungry, we get fed, so on and so forth. And then, now we're out into this world. It's bright. It's loud. We don't know how to work our body. We don't know how to communicate. And it's very different from the world we were in before. So now we have all these monsters to fight, I guess you could say. All these things to conquer. We have to learn how to be self-sufficient, which takes years. In some instances, decades. We have to learn how to walk. If you've ever seen a child who doesn't know how to walk yet, and not even really crawling, you try to put them on their 2 feet, they do not want to do that. Because the feet are so sensitive. They haven't, built up a tolerance for stepping. They haven't built up a tolerance to step on, carpet or grass or hardwood floor or dirt. Like it takes time. It takes time to build up that tolerance. And then once we master walking, now we got to learn how to run. And then we have to learn how to feed ourselves. We have to learn how to move our hands. We have to move how, we have all of these things that are even celebrated now. Baby's first step, baby's first, solid food, baby's first word, which sometimes is not a good word. But there's all these mountains to climb. And the world is full of exploration. Full of it. That's why you got to baby-proof the house. And as we get older, we start exploring even more into the different kinds of food. We're not just eating for subsistence. Now we're eating pleasures being added to it. What do we like to eat? What textures do we like? What smells do we like to smell? And all that changes throughout time. And then there's music. What music do we want to listen to? How do we want to communicate? How do we want to move? How do we want to just live our life? And so it's one of those things where now we have more things to conquer, because it's not just, us and our parents. It's now us and our siblings. And having, being the youngest of 4 boys, I'm not the youngest child in my family, but I'm the youngest of 4 boys. That in of itself was a struggle. I'm sure it was a struggle for my siblings too. But, a struggle to kind of match your siblings. All 3 of my brothers are extremely talented and very intelligent in their own way. And it's one of those things of, by the time I came along, they've done everything. So how am I going to conquer the next thing? How am I going to be an individual and be my own person? That was my mountain to climb as a kid and as a teenager. As a young adult, how am I going to be as an adult? What do I want to learn? What do I want to do? And that comes with its own ups and downs. And of course, everyone has an opinion. Oh, you don't want to do that. It doesn't make enough money. Oh, you want to do this because, so-and-so's done it. And they all mean well and good. But really, the first demon, the first monster we have to fight, once we're able to function, is we have to fight our own bad habits. We have to fight ourselves. And whether you're religious or not, you have to understand that there's good and bad in each of us. There is. There are indulgences that are individual. There are certain, I guess you could say, kinks in our armor. Certain things that just, pet peeves or things that just drive us batshit crazy. And it's one of those things where we have to conquer ourselves. And it's not just men, women have to do it too. But on the male side of it, the simplicity of, men act like this is a lie. Because each man is uniquely their own person. There's a famous saying that says, a man is born 500 men, but dies as only one. The vast potential we have as men when we're born is infinite. Especially in this day and age when you can go to school to be anything you want to be, as long as you put in the effort. And so, being the next, Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, there's potential there for anybody who wants to do it and is willing to fight that demon, willing to, conquer that, to do it. But again, we have to deal with ourselves. We have to fight ourselves. We have to conquer us. And that's where a lot of people fail to realize that we have to be responsible for us. Because the world doesn't give a rat's butt about us. Doesn't. Now, I saw this skit by, I want to say it was it Chris Tucker? I believe it was Chris Tucker, yeah. Where he's like, there's only 3 things that are loved unconditionally. Women, kids, and pets. A man is not loved unconditionally. He's loved conditionally. Now, in a broader spectrum, that's actually true. In a smaller spectrum, we tend to be loved unconditionally by the person we marry, typically. But there's always somebody that wants something from us. Either ourselves, we got to be, thinner, stronger, more cut, more muscle. We need to make more money. Our boss is always wanting us to work more, to be available to do stuff, to assign us more projects without paying us more money. For those who have kids, kids always need stuff. Oh, I want this, or I want this toy, or I want this food, or I want this or that or the other. Kids are needy because they're kids. But, it is, I'm going to say it right now, and I don't give a crap who gets pissed off about it. It's hard out there for a man. Contrary to what, people say, it is hard out there for a man. People don't hold the doors for a man. We're expected to be able to move it. People don't move out of the way and let us cut in line. People don't offer to carry stuff for us unless we're, disabled. They just don't. People don't ask us about our weekend unless they're a buddy of ours or want something from us. And the sad thing is that that's very true. We have to conquer to be known. But what are we going to conquer after we've conquered ourselves? Now, this is where the simplicity of man becomes extremely complicated. Because what you as a man want to conquer, whether it's a new skill set, a language, learning how to paint, that next promotion, graduating college, whatever your next monster is that you're going to vanquish, that's individual. But that leads into the next one where we like what we like and we don't like what we don't like. So I hope you join me during this series of, men are simple, but it's the simplicity that's complex. And I hope to see y'all on the next one.